So it's been almost a year now since I threw my smartphone in the dumpster and switched to the cheapest dumb phone that Cricket sold, and I think it's finally time for me to rejoin modern society. As of tomorrow, I will be the proud owner of a Google Pixel 6, which according to a bunch of elitist phone nerds on Reddit is apparently a piece of trash, but I'm pretty sure it's still going to be a major step up from my device, which can barely even text and call. Anyway, I just wanted to go over some of the pros and cons of using a dumb phone and talk about my experience over the last year. Because as inconvenient as it was at times, and trust me, it got really fucking inconvenient at times, there were a lot of upsides, and I'm honestly kind of nervous to switch back at this point. So I'm going to start with the pros. The first major upside was like the total lack of social media and news. When I had a smartphone, I would be on there all the time, just like checking tweets and news sites and reading about politics, arguing with old people, of course, on Facebook. They say a lot of stupid shit that really just doesn't actually matter, but I would get pulled into the fight. And I could not stop myself. It was just very addictive, and it made me miserable a lot of the time. I made myself miserable because I just kept engaging with it, and that's why I got rid of the smartphone in the first place. Is because I'm very OCD. I'm very obsessive, and I couldn't help myself. I lacked the self-control. This stuff was like crack to me. Just checking the social media feeds and checking whatever political thing. I don't care because I don't want to actually put the research in to read about these policies and the politics and form an informed opinion and make a coherent argument. And you know what? Nobody else does either. Nobody knows what the fuck they're talking about. And they're all just, bullshitting each other and circle jerking on social media, and it's just it's pointless. Most people are just really stupid and they're not actually looking to engage with you in any fucking honest way. So it's absolutely pointless to argue with these people. You're not changing their minds. They're not changing your mind. And it's not like either of you have a platform, so you're not changing an audience's mind. It's just, you guys are just fucking bashing your heads against the wall. So that's something I want to be really careful about when I go back to the future, so to speak. Because for the past year, I really didn't hear about politics, and I really didn't hear about news that wasn't like local and affected me directly. I know everybody's been fighting about the Middle East and who to elect and blah 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 blah. All that stuff's important, don't get me wrong. But most people aren't educated on it, and most people don't want to put the time in to get educated on it. And I don't have enough sanity to read about all that stuff and maintain like a cool head. So it's out for me. I just can't be involved in all that in any real way. So unless I checked my computer, specifically sought it out, or I went to family members' houses who are completely politics brained and that's all they talk about, I really didn't hear about this stuff. And my life was a lot happier just playing video games. I've been playing pinball. Pinball is way better. I don't gotta think about politics. I go to the arcade and I hit the pinball and I go to tournaments, and it doesn't matter. Everybody, there's people from all walks of life, and everybody just gets along because we're not talking about that dumb shit. We're just hanging out. It's just a lot easier to be happy that way, to turn a blind eye to everything and live in blissful ignorance, which is what I've been doing. It would, like, an example would be like somebody would come up to me and be like, "Hey, did you see this dumb shit that some woman said on TikTok?" And I would think about it for a second, and I would say, you know what? No, I didn't see that dumb shit. And I'm really glad I didn't see that dumb shit because it sounds like some really fucking dumb shit. I also feel like I watched my physical media a lot more. I watched so many great movies and like really terrible movies over the past year that I would just find out on VHS or DVD or Blu-ray or whatever. And while I was watching them, this is the important part, I wasn't distracted Googling an actor's name or the definition of a word that I probably could have just figured out using context clues anyway, or some other bullshit that just I really didn't need to know right then, but because I'm obsessive with that stuff, if I have access to the phone, I'm going to be like, do it, you have to Google this now, you have to look this up, every little thing, every little hiccup. By forcing myself to get rid of that phone and not have that, I didn't have to do any of that, which was super peaceful, super nice. And all of this stuff is just stuff I got to be careful with so I don't get wrapped right back up into it and turn into a completely miserable person. But anyway, for all the pros, of which there are many, there are a lot of cons. One of the big things was I'm trying to get a job, okay? And every time I get a retail job, I crack under the pressure in like a week. I don't know what it is. I'm just like, I feel like I'm incapable of communicating with people in like a customer servicey kind of way. Like, I don't know, I fuck it up. So I'm thinking I might try to dash some doors or insta some carts or something. And you can't Instacart and you can't dash the doors with a flip phone. And even if you could do the DoorDash app or the Uber Eats or whatever, I don't know where I'm going. There is no GPS on this phone. So I got pretty good at like memorizing directions of places I go all the time. Or like if I have to make a one-off trip somewhere, I can just Google the directions on my computer and like memorize the turns or whatever. You know, if it's like 30 minutes away, it's not that hard usually. But if I'm going to be doing that all day or trying to like do delivery, whatever, that wouldn't work anyway, even if I did have some way to get the app. The other major thing is there are perks to getting, you know, CDs and cassette tapes or whatever, you know, like buying your own physical media, obviously. But Spotify is so fucking convenient. And I really miss streaming music. I think it's a lot easier to cut streaming services, which we did for like movies and shows and stuff, because I don't know, it's just easier to like collect those things. Like yeah, hour movie or like a 2 hour movie, I'm sitting down and watching that. But like 5 minute songs, I feel like there's just so many different types of music I like, so many genres, so many artists, and it's such a headache to kind of maintain that or switch CDs. There's a time where I like to sit down and listen to full albums, and that's when CDs and all that stuff are really good. But there's times where I just want to put on a mix and like go with it. And that's when it'd be really nice to have a phone. And I miss being able to like while I'm playing pinball, I would love to have like some music in my ears. And I can't really get like wireless headphones, and I had to put MP3s on my flip phone. Like it just doesn't really work. So that's two of the big ones is apps like that, like DoorDash. Maps are very, very nice, like having the GPS. Spotify, being able to have like podcast, YouTube type long form content on the go. I like being able to do that while I'm driving, and it's just really inconvenient to, you know, I'd have to download the video as an MP3 and put it on. And that's just a whole mess of inconvenience. Right now, like, I drive a 95 Camry, and in my car, I have, like, a cassette to auxiliary adapter, and I'm listening to, like, hip-hop MP3s that I put on a 8 gigabyte micro SD in my flip phone. It's just absurd, you know? It gets a little absurd. And I think it's time for me to, like, go back to having a little bit of convenience. One of the other upsides I miss being able to communicate over like Discord when I need to. I miss being able to use Facebook Marketplace. There used to be a Facebook app that worked on KaiOS, which is the OS that this like flip phone uses, and you could at least like message back and forth so I could communicate with people like when I arrive somewhere to meet them for a marketplace sale. Facebook totally fucked that. I don't know, some security update or something. You can't use the app on like this type of phone anymore. It's like a third-party app. So there's no way to communicate. Marketplace is out. I'd like to get back to like flipping some things, eBay. Just there's so many like modern conveniences. I think the important part is going to be trying to figure out myself how to balance things, because the phone should mostly enrich your life. The technology should enrich your life. It should not be just a headache all the time. And it felt like a headache, you know, last I had it. So I'm hoping that this time I can make it feel like I'm controlling it and it's not controlling me. Anyway, that was a long rant. I can't work the retail, guys. I gotta make this YouTube thing happen. You know, I gotta get famous. Gotta keep ranting about shit, and you guys gotta keep subbing so that I can do what Moist Critical does and give like milquetoast takes and just talk like this and make $1 million every video. That's about it. See ya.